All right, well, it's a balmy 44 degrees out. I have not hit the river yet, but when I do, I'll take a temperature, and I expect it to be low 40s. It is the end of dry fly season, and I went through a tradition slash ceremony last night that I do at the end of every season, and that is to burn away all the tying materials from all the flies I tied that caught fish this year. From my big old fly box, which is now empty and clean and ready for some winter tie-in or for next season. But pretty amazing to go through those flies and see all the variations, and of course they're all beat up, because if they stayed in the box, that means they hooked a fish, and it's not even the cost of dry fly hooks. It's just kind of like, okay, that is my end of season routine. So even though technically this is not where I got my first dry fly fish of the year, I decided to pop up here given our weather forecast, which has snow in decent accumulations for the next 3 days. And so I decided to pop up here. I've got my fingerless gloves on. I've got my hoodie pulled up over my head or over my ears. And what I tied on, went back to a couple of my old boxes. One is called Attractors and the other is called Stimmies. And a number 14 Royal Wolf jumped out at me, and so I tied it on, and I'm going to give it a whirl on these fish that were so good all season and willingly took my own creations. This is a store-bought fly. I haven't put one on all season long, but yeah, it should be cool. As I said, 44. I'm going to give it a little bit longer. I think it might be lower than that. It is cold, but that little Royal Wolf looks pretty cool on the water. I haven't fished one of these in ages, and it used to be a staple for me, a go-to fly. Floats so nice with those two white calf-tail wings pointing up in the sky. There is a breeze today, and it is blowing downstream, I can tell. So casting will be a challenge, and oh, we just had a take. All right, casting will be a challenge, but that was going to be true no matter what, given that it's a balmy 44 degrees out. But we're just here to put a wrap on an incredible season, in a sense. Doesn't mean I won't be fishing, because I could drive a few miles and fish for steelhead right now. That's one option. Another option is to get serious about my nymphing again, but given that this has been a predominantly dry fly season, and 100% with my own creations. It does feel like today is kind of a, oh, there's a fish. How about that? Oh my gosh, and it's a pretty good one. On a royal wolf. It would be so awesome if this was the beeve. I am where I caught him so many times back in July. And this fish, uh-oh. Houston, we have a problem. Oh, I think he's gonna get off. Oh no. How did that happen so fast? All I have to do is pull. I'm not putting really any pressure on him right now. All right, maybe we can get it out. There we go. All right. He didn't even know he was hooked for a while there. This is a good sized cutty. I'm quietly hoping that it is Theodore. That would just be the perfect capper. Looks to be in the size range. Nice fish. Got a pretty long leader on, so I'm gonna have to hoist him a bit. Not done. He's gonna take another run. Good looking cutthroat. Holy cow. Nice fish on a royal wolf. So it took a lot of extra effort to revive that fish, as the video undoubtedly shows. There was enough blood early on that I thought I was going to probably end up bunking that fish and harvesting it. Even though it's catch and release, I'd rather make a meal out of it than and take my chances than to just leave it on the river bottom. But oh my god, there's another fish. Okay, so what I did was I switched. Oh, he's off. What I did was I switched over after I broke the royal wolf off in that fish's mouth rather than trying to dig it out with the forceps, and that might have made the difference as far as him swimming away rather angrily at the end. But I tied on my other favorite fly from past life, or from a past life, and that is a number 14 orange stimulator, and I already hooked a fish on it. But yeah, this was my go-to fly back in Washington for both sea run and resident cutthroat. But yeah, that I won't know until I look at past pictures of that fish's spots to know if that was my fish from July. But it would have kind of been heartbreaking if it turns out that it was that fish and he doesn't make it, because he gave me a lot of joy this dry fly season. So yeah, it's funny just to try and spot these flies. They're not nearly as visible as my own ties, mostly because I use those white foam wings that are hyper visible. And it's funny that I've already hooked a couple of fish today, just kind of experimenting with some old flies. So yeah, you got to be pretty crazy to be out here doing what I'm doing right now. I'm freezing, but laughing and enjoying myself. I can hardly spot this fly in this flat light, and I'm kind of standing here giving myself props on how visible my own flies are. But I had another take on this orange stimulator. But as I was driving up here, what I was thinking to myself is how freaking fortunate I am to just be alive, but also to be experiencing all this. The life that I'm experiencing right now, it is in no small part due to my sobriety and my active participation in an anonymous program that you can figure out what it is. What I didn't know until I had been in for a while was that there is so much more to it than just not drinking. And the not drinking is like a foregone conclusion anymore. I neither think about it, nor do I crave it, nor is it any part of my thought processes. But the idea of being in a fellowship and sharing our story with others and doing service, something I never even crossed my mind back in the day, understandably so. But you know, life is so freaking good, not even because I'm fishing. That is a huge part of it, but life is so good because I wake up clear-headed every day. I make plans and I execute them. I'm surrounded by a group of people that have, like myself, experienced rock bottom in life, and yet the truth of the matter is that for everyone out there, there is a solution, and I just think, if nothing else, spreading that message in my tiny little circle or in my little universe has made such a huge difference in my life, that I have a whole level of freedom and a whole sense of peace that I did not think possible in the not so distant past, and I am not going to do anything to screw with that from this point on. I am a huge believer that a power quite a bit greater than myself brought me from the gate of hell back to a happy and fruitful existence, and I neither take that for granted nor do I hesitate to talk about it with anybody that'll listen. It can happen. I've said it many times in meetings that if it can work for me, then I can say it can work for anybody. And it's it is a whole level of peace. Again, that's a word that I use a lot, but it's a whole level of peace that for a very long time seemed unattainable. But I put in the work, and I still participate heavily, and I always will, because I want to preserve this feeling that now has been with me for a number of years. So anybody listening who thinks they might have a problem, just understand that I would have been a naysayer. My old self would have been a naysayer, and I avoided dealing with it for many years. But once I did, I was opened up to a new way of thinking and a new attitude about just about everything in my life. And again, it took a while, but the idea of ever drinking again, that's just a foregone conclusion, gone. Don't even think about it, never will. But it's everything else that's wrapped up in it that gives you this sense of being that is a happy, joyous, and free one, as opposed to the doomsdayer that I felt like for way too many years. All indications are I'm into a big one. Yes. Catch up. There we go. This guy took a good run right off the bat. And for this fish, I was actually able to see the fly very plainly, and I saw his little snout, just like in that prior 45-second video I did of how subtle their take is, or how visible their take is. It's nearly invisible, even magnified. Oh yeah, this is a beauty. This is a beauty. Ooh, he's got some length to him. I would anticipate that he is going to take another nice run. Awesome. Oh man, this is a very big fish. Oh, I want to get that line out the end of my rod. Okay, we're good. Holy shit, this is a beautiful fish. It's not done yet either. Fish and Game just drove by, which I like. Oh, look at this thing. Holy crap. This could be the fish of the season. I think this is longer than that cut bow. Look at the size of this fish. And what's crazy is that means he's been here. I mean, odds are he has been living in this stretch of the river all summer long. And he has probably seen every pattern that I've thrown out to these guys and said nope. And then I come back with an old standard, one of my probably my overall favorite fly ever, a number 14 orange stimulator. This guy is well over 20 inches. Let's hope we land him. down just a little bit for the landing. Look at the size of this beautiful fish. He is not done yet. Okay, I think we're going to get him this pass. No, I just couldn't quite rear back that extra foot. And I think he's going to take another run. Yeah. Look at that. Look at the strength. You can't see it, but I have a big giant smile on my face. Even given the subject matter of my earlier discussion, which makes me smile too. It really does. All right, buddy, your head's up. Let's do it. Not quite. Nope, he saw me and he said, "No way, man. I'm not done yet." Alright, I am as high as I can reel and still have a realistic expectation of not breaking off. Oh my God, look at that fish. It is also a cut bow, if I'm not mistaken. Just like that big Mondo fish I got a couple of weeks ago. That is insane and freaking gorgeous. And the hook is out. I'm gonna keep this guy in the water, but I'm gonna have some fun releasing him. Look at that beauty. I'd say 22, but let's go ahead and put my rod down over here and we're going to get some video of this fella before he goes back. I can tell you that that fish would be legal. That's 22 inches. That fish would be legal if it was a... Okay, my screen was dark. I don't know what I caught on that, but look at that beautiful cutthroat. He looks healthy. I don't see any blood. He basically tapes out at 22 inches, but with his spotting, I'm thinking it's a cut bow. And to some people, that's not necessarily a good thing because the rainbows are not native in here and the westslope cutthroat are. But what I see there is sheer beauty. I mean, it just doesn't get any better than that. All right, so what I'm going to do is turn the camera off. He is feeling good, and we're going to watch this fella swim away.